Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are into the second game of this second quarterfinal today between NSG and Wind and Rain. It was not a stomp in the first game. Obviously, NSG coming in as an open qualifier team, making it this far, really showing that you can go decent depth in the tournament from the open tournament bracket, and also the Pride of Ireland really running through here as well. Phelan and Nuclear Storm Gaming doing well, but it looked good. It was a good game for NSG, even though they lost. There was more life there than I expected.
Yeah, and what I will say is, I mean, Phelan were great as an org, but I mean, these guys are coming out with 4 Irish players. That's a bit more of like a push towards the Irish side of things. So it is nice to see that. Even if the bot lane didn't have a great showing, things like the jungle looked fine, the mid lane even had some good showings in the middle there.
Given the guy doesn't play anymore, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Like XJ
sure.
definitely plays a lot more WoW and Hearthstone than he does.
We'll see. Yeah, I think we'll see how they go into this second game. I think if they can have a better showing than that, I'll be very happy.
Yeah. For sure. Even if they lose and they have a good show.
Exactly.
If they take this to 35 minutes plus, I'm again going to think, wow, that's good for the Irish
Even if
team.
they have a convincing shorter game.
Yeah.
Like if it's back and forth like that, except they don't lose the early, I'd be very happy with that.
And you mentioned that for NSG, it's a little, for the players specifically, it's a little bit more than about winning here. It's about showing their stuff on stage, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're coming in as any open qualifier team, but what's really nice here is that you have these Irish players who haven't really potentially broken into the UK scene, showing that they can face off against the kind of players that they'd be expected to face off against if they were to be picked up by a UK team of some form.
Yeah, no, it's great for them.
And a thing as well, I think, just to kind of squash up a little bit, we were probably a bit critical of Wind and Rain in the last game. But what I want to say is that because you come out with such a big lead, you are expected to kind of end early. And I think Wind and Rain, seeing how, not easily, but definitely how kind of like quickly they were caught out by NSG, a lot more respect will be given to them, a lot more kind of, you know, okay, these guys are actually a little bit of a real deal, and they'll come back in possibly a little bit cleaner as well, because they'll be expecting those kind of plays.
I'm going to be honest, guys. Some people always say, haha, bias casters, but you're Irish. You're supporting an Irish. You're allowed to support the team that is from your home nation. You know, and I think I fully support you doing it. To be completely honest.
And we have more Irish players in this teams than most UK teams have in their teams, as in like UK players. 4 versus their 3. But anyway, we are into picks and bans. They have Swiptaroo onto the blue and the red side for Nuclear Storm Gaming, and Wind and Rain almost. Graves going to be banned. Zillion going to be banned again. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw 3 support bans.
It's alright. Movistar Riders in the LVP, they always call it the Swedish Riders.
Yeah. 5. I think it was 5 Swedes, wasn't it?
I think it was 4 and 1 other.
It might have been 4 and 1.
Wasn't XL last split in
all European?
Yeah, all non-UK. So they had UK residency. That was the loophole.
Do we have any? Is Rippy a UK player? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
But I still don't think there are any UK players.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, sweeping it back down to here, we have got the Graves Rise and Jin actually banned by Wind and Rain, with the Zillion Kaiser, which was a very big winner in our last game, and the Camille with the Talia left open, most likely going to XJ. He's very, very good in that champion.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get that going over to XJ in the jungle there.
Most likely. I think Zoinkers can pick it up as well. Zoinker's actually pretty versatile in his picks. Like, he favors certain picks, like the Zoe and such, but you saw picking Zoe into LeBlanc's a death sentence, so that's kind of why he moved away from it. So, yeah.
Sure.
The Orianna early as well meant that he's...
All right, let's see what Wind and Rain run with here then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. There was a lot of 80 carries taken away, so I actually kind of like picking up an 80 carry early at this point. Especially something safe like Ezreal that isn't in particular danger.
Ezreal's a very good Fax pick as well. He's incredibly gifted with it. Like, there's a few people in the European scene that I'd say Ezreal nice, like Toaster, for instance.
Yes.
I would say Ezreal nice. Fax is another one where I'd say Ezreal nice. And now we'll see. I think either going support or jungle here is fine for Wind and Rain. It looks like, I like that a lot from Akitsune. It's aggressive. It takes it away from Blaze, who I think genuinely had an okay game despite some of the early mishaps.
After like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you can credit a lot of that to the relative. They had a relatively immobile 80 carry that was walking up a lot. So once he was roaming, he seemed fine. It was once they got out of lane, but this time not going to be able to use it in lane.
Swain, though, looks like it's going to be the lock-in, and actually, that's a Voina pick right there.
Swain Morgana is still
I was
up.
going to say,
Yeah,
Swain
Swain
Morgana,
Morgana.
that could well go over to Blaze and Voina, because Voina played a lot of that, even in the kind of qualifiers. He's very, very potent on it. He could pick it up. It also can go to Zoinkers in the mid lane, so as we talked about a little bit during the first pick for the Taliyah, Zoinkers has got a massive champion pool, which he can all play very, very well. Ryze is also one of his standard champions, and Shen being picked up as well, most likely a Shen bot.
Yeah.
Swain's power level is a lot lower than it used to be, though,
Yes.
especially with the rise of the AD carries. So I would be a little bit concerned about Swain. You know, he's not exactly one of those super high-level picks that you take every single time now.
Yeah.
And look at this, though. Zoe comes out for Crossman, changing it up a little bit, opting to go for the LeBlanc, but does a similar thing, and I've seen Crossman play a really good Zoe before.
Yeah, and I think, again, something we've seen often when we get these kind of last lock-ins in mid lanes, just taking out some of the standard counters. So we see the Yasuo coming out. I wonder if Zoinkers would be bold enough to go for the Echo, which is definitely an option as well.
Is that something he plays a lot?
I've seen him play
A
that
lot
once
of
or
play.
twice. Yeah.
Also plays a hell of a lot of LeBlanc.
Okay.
So he could actually end up kind of, you know, like we talked about the death sentence for Zoe, it could actually well come into it. Darius going to be banned away as well. It's actually going to be Poppy banned for Wind and Rain.
Makes me feel like Kerberos wants to have something aggressive
But
again.
they banned the Darius, so this could have been the exact same thing we saw in the previous
Sure.
series, where once the Darius is banned, they go, oh, they want to pick Poppy. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Absolutely agree. And Kerberos, he was kind of the one thing, I feel like his pick just made, like, yes, he had a couple of good ultimates, which we touched on, but
His pick had no impact.
his pick had literally no
Yeah.
impact. Yes, he was doing a couple of happy feet, but it wasn't something that we expect from him. Lee Sin actually going to be banned away here from Nulti. This is, I'm almost certain then that that's Taliyah mid, or sorry, Taliyah jungle. I'm almost certain then.
Yeah, I feel like so, but I just don't think Lee Sin would have fit this composition super well, given Kerberos likes to be a bit more aggressive with his
Yeah.
picks. I feel like you definitely want a front line here, and I think Gragas or Sejuani are both fine.
I think I prefer Gragas here, as it allows them to accelerate the game, and when you've got Zoe Pike, I think that's a bit better for you. So yeah, pretty standard around the board there. So on the other side, I'm interested to see whether that's a Swain Shen bot lane or if they want to change that up now, because this is where we see how their comp is going to look rounded out.
Jarvan, potentially for top lane.
Or jungle,
Yeah.
both of which are perfectly viable. Blind picking a Jarvan feels risky to me, but it does do well into a lot of other good melee matchups in the top lane.
With Poppy banned as well, it's not as risky.
Yes.
Darius gone as well. You know, doesn't have the bleed effect on him anymore, and kind of, I don't know, it'd be curious to see. I know Zizzle plays a good bit of Jarvan top. It's been a while since he's played it. It is kind of risky, but it looks like it's going to be the Swain in the bot side, which most likely means it is most likely going to be the Shen as well to complement Voina's Swain.
So it's Shen, Swain. It is going to be Jarvan top. Taliyah will definitely be jungle, and Orianna will be going mid. That is a beefy, heavy-hitting composition with the Jarvan-Orianna combo on top of the Shen for the Swain, or for the Jarvan when they jump in, with the backline powerhouse of Taliyah too. That is, this thing will hit you like a truck in a team fight.
If you don't build Emil, that's what I'm looking at. There is a lot of magic damage focus coming out.
Oh, the Aatrox!
Yeah, I was just about to say,
gonna
we haven't touched it.
Well,
the
I mean, that
Aatrox
was
has been picked.
I expected that as the counter pick. That makes the most sense. As soon as you see anything standard come out, it was going to be Aatrox, I assume, and that's partly why they banned the Poppy as well.
And you don't jump onto an Aatrox with the Jarvan, because Aatrox will just slam you.
Oh yeah, Aatrox will destroy you. But that being said as well, the Taliyah and the Jarvan combo in the early games pre-6 can actually do a lot of damage onto that Aatrox. So if they can make that work, but looking at both these comps, you know, Wind and Rain and Nuclear Storm, both of these guys have like pretty big definitive spikes in their damage, and you know, both of them looking to do kind of semi-different things.
Well, you can't team fight as Wind and Rain. Like, Aatrox is a terrible team fighter, and you've got two single target primary damage heroes. This is pick if I've seen anything in my life before. You've got Pyke, Ezreal, Zoe. If you ain't picking, you ain't doing nothing with this composition, because that's all it does. I suppose you have that sort of disengage if things go wrong for the Gragas, but very vision dominant, and then you have Kerberos on the sidelines split pushing with the Aatrox, because like, you don't team fight this. There's no way in hell you team fight Nuclear Storm Gaming if you're Wind and Rain here. You lose every single time.
And one of the things I do like about that is that you have Shen, and then you have Cleanse and Orianna, so that helps you avoid some of those picks. So again, when it comes back to if they end up having a bit of a weaker early game, they can stall this out quite well just by grouping up.
And how much MR can you realistically or feasibly build? I mean, Hex Drinkers can come out, I guess, for Ezreal and the Aatrox. I know you could probably get a good frontline
Spear Visage on the Aatrox and
I mean,
the
Gragas can go,
Gragas.
obviously, but I mean, you can even go. I think it does leave you a little bit more open on Zoe to lean towards the Banshee's Veil and stuff.
Sure. But it limits
even
the damage
then,
potential.
it does. Yeah, like this isn't like a massive tanky comp, so it's not your major worry.
I mean, there's
so
no way you
still
go
a
it
danger.
for second item even. Like you want the Ludens into
Yeah,
more damage,
100%.
right? So, I mean, this is a composition from Wind and Rain that does rely single-handedly on their ability to control vision. I think it relies on their ability to get ahead early, because I think you need, with pick compositions, you need to be the one threatening and trying to move into the enemy jungle. I like Nuclear Storm's composition better. I like it 10 times better. It's the only worry I have is that bot lane with the Swain, it could be a little bit susceptible to roams down bot, dives down bot as well.
And my worry now is that one of their better sides was the fact that they had a winning top lane. Very unlikely you win up against an Aatrox. Possible. I mean, I'm going to point it out. We've seen some weird things happen in these series, but unless you get heavy jungle pressure, I don't see it happening.
Agree. I look at the Nuclear Storm composition, though, and you have an incredible team fight. Like, just a beautiful team fight. I mean, so much CC, so many ways to get Orianna's ball into the best position, lock down a lot of these carries easily with the Jarvan. You've got great protection with the Shen. I mean, if you get to a point in the game where 5v5s are getting forced, if Nuclear Storm Gaming can't win a 5v5 with this composition, there's nothing right with the world, you know?
Yeah.
It's this is Nuclear Storm's, it's their prerogative to group up and force these things. It's their prerogative to try and group up and siege towers, force objectives, make Wind and Rain have to react to them so they can engage. If Wind and Rain get ahead in lane, the pick is unreal. They can snowball it, can very easily win off that first Baron by sieging and picking under turrets, things like that. So for me, Wind and Rain need to do exactly what they did before, have that good early laning phase, but then they need to not rest on their laurels in the mid game, need to constantly pressure vision into the enemy jungle, constantly look for picks, look to pressure that Baron as soon as you physically can, roam bot a lot, gank bot lane tower a lot, again leave Kerberos to his own devices, maybe gank him once or twice to get him ahead, but for me, the safer composition is Nuclear Storm. Like it's just easier to execute in the late to mid game.
I mean, one of the big things, it also focused on their strengths from the last game. What they did quite well was once the game slowed down, when they were team fighting, they looked quite strong.
Yeah.
Literally the only fight they lost was because you had this massively ahead Kai'Sa able to just run around your backline.
Sure.
That shouldn't happen in this game. You should be dealing with just pure pick. And they didn't seem like they were awful at responding to the pick. Even the LeBlanc, if it was not followed up by a ridiculous amount of damage and a front line that was able to walk right up to you because you couldn't respond to it, that game could have looked a lot different. This game, I would hope, should look a lot different based on the comps.
And as well as that, like the Wind and Rain kind of, we talked about resting on their laurels, but they also kind of rested on the high amount of mobility they had with those carries in the LeBlanc and the Kai'Sa. You kind of have an in and an out with Zoe and Ezreal. There's no kind of like, you know, Kai'Sa zoom around, get everything like that, get your ultimate to go past, you know, a couple of different tanks to get the damage down. It's kind of more of a kind of all or not all or nothing, but like if they get jumped upon, they have to completely disengage, or they have to try and fight there, because once they're out of the fight, they're out of the fight.
So, given these two compositions, are you going to stick with your predictions?
I mean, look, I'll stand by them. Whether I think that the game went somewhat poorly, I'm going to stand by NSG, and I think we talked about that they're looking stronger now, that they showed up surprisingly well in the last game. I hope they do well here, and I'm going to stand by them to see if they can.
Sticking with my boy. 2-1 NSG, still sticking with it. It's still on plan.
Certainly the platform to build from if you want to win that prediction. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go 2-1 after this. Yeah. If you don't win.
Yeah, it's like literally I lose or I stick to my guns. So
if your bot lane doesn't int early on, then there's a good chance that you could.
I think given that it's a Swain and a Shen, it's an awful lot kind of, you know, like the early level 1 from or level 2 from Shen's an awful lot better, I feel, against a Pyke who isn't as tanky arguably as a Nautilus or as a damage mitigating.
But Swain's damage output is awful.
Yes,
it is.
It is. But my point isn't that they're not going to trade. I'm not saying that they're going to get the kills. I'm saying that they're not going to die.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
It is harder to kill them.
Yes.
Gotta give it that.
Yeah, definitely harder to kill. Shen can definitely taunt up, prevent that kind of thing from happening, but we'll have to see when we head into the game. But the top lane is definitely going to be interesting. As I said, I just have had word from production that we are heading into games. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. NSG versus Wind and Rain. Second game of the series. Can NSG bring it back?
Wind and Rain bringing the storm. NSG trying to bring their own one, really. I didn't think about that one very well.
Yeah, I thought you were going to counter it with...
I was going to counter, then I realized storm and storm is just storm.
Okay.
Oh, as I say that, though, we're going to see a taunt. Lands onto the Pyke. A little bit of damage, nothing too crazy. back away, Wind and Rain. Pretty safe. And that's something we didn't actually touch on at all in this bot lane, is that Ezreal Pike is actually incredibly safe as well. Like, it's very hard to catch up onto these guys.
Yeah, what I was going to point out is that, you have the good Swain Shen synergy, but that mostly works when you're playing aggressive. And then, of course, with the very low early damage, you're not going to see that for a while. I mean, which suits NSG perfectly. The bigger worry is if you see a lot of damage coming down quickly from an Ezreal or a Pike.
So looking at the two compositions, we talked about them in length in terms of their pros, their cons, how they look to win the game. How do they look to win the first 15 minutes? Oh, as I say that though, good taunts, flash burned, Ignite goes down, and that's going to be advantage to NSG right now. Good little bit of play there coming out from the bot lane.
Yeah, and it's the TP Ezreal, so they've no heal to deal with that, so I think he's very aware that if that goes on for much longer, he very quickly gets forced out of lane.
Just as I was about to talk about, what do these two teams want to do in the first 10-15 minutes, we kind of see it there, is that you establish dominance, and a level 2 hit first now on by Zizzle onto Kerberos, gets a lot of damage down, and Kerberos, he's got to be so careful. And so far, NSG, I know it's only been 2.5 minutes, but a much better start comparatively to the 2.5 minutes they had from the last game.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm looking at as well is the top lane, you have this Aatrox, you have this powerhouse, and I want to see obviously how it goes on. It is, of course, only level 1, but they knew this was being picked. In 90% of scenarios, they knew that it was likely going to be the Aatrox counter-picked if you picked pretty much anything after the Poppy's been banned. So Kerberos goes for it, and Zizzle effectively responds, even though it was picked beforehand with the Jarvan. I'm really interested to see how this lane goes, because he must have been expecting it.
Yeah, level 3's hit, so that lane a little bit safer for the Aatrox. Has got that kind of weird dash move that kind of doesn't... It's actually not a dash. It's not a dash, though. It will not be stopped by Steadfast Presence.
Yeah, it will be.
Nope.
Pretty sure.
150 million%, because I was Aatrox and I got caught by a Poppy and I just sauntered out. It's weird. It's very weird. It does not count as a dash and will not be stopped by Steadfast Presence.
It's called dash. We'll come back to that anyway.
We'll come back, but I'm almost certain.
Yeah. Anyway, you now have a massive CS lead in the top lane. And that wave's been pushed in, and Aatrox was forced to back. So that was really nice for Zizzle here. And that's going to be the TP forced. Yeah, immediately. So, very nice for him. Force the second Doran's to be built on the Aatrox, and that's not really what you want in this scenario.
Yeah. Nice little positioning there from Zoinkers, not Zoinkeners.
Yeah.
Puts himself behind the minions. Does still get splash damage, unfortunately, but still doing very well. A quiet early game from both these teams.
A quiet early game is NSG's like...
I was going to say, like, they're like, boom, baby, we did it. We didn't end to the first 5 minutes. All right. But Wind and Rain, they are playing with a lot more respect. We talked about how their lanes aren't exactly as aggressive or as mobile as they would have been in the last game. So they're pretty fine with this as well. Maybe not so fine with the top lane, but Aatrox should start ramping up into that monster pretty soon once he hits that level 6.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see how Zizzle responds to that. Right now he's trying to use Airy to poke him out. That poke starts to become less and less effective as Aatrox just heals it all off with his own E passive. We'll see now. I'm really interested to see whether NSG can find themselves even an even early game so they can then group up and get to what we expect as their win condition, their team fights.
Yeah, we actually see Crossman coming in, maybe looking for a bubble. Had Gragas off to the side, but you did see a ping go on the minimap, so they had a relatively good idea where he was. Now Kerberos starts to do a lot of damage. Zizzle may be forced to flash here. A lot of minions there, needs to be so careful. Kerberos is going to kind of jump in here, but they have got an ulti as well. They're going to flash in. First blood, but quickly traded back. XJ in the right place at the right time. Able to go back to his turret, keep himself safe, and trade back another bit of damage. But overall, First Blood Diz does go over to Nulty on that Gragas.
And that was still decent. I mean, what they thought was going to happen was they thought that Aatrox was going to dive, and then from there that they were going to pick up a nice kill under tower. What happened was Nulty responded really well, made sure he was in position too, and managed to secure Wind and Rain First Blood. Still close though. Definitely closer than last game, but even close just from a more standard point of view.
And the thing as well is that neither top lane got those kills, so both top laners basically pick up an assist, which isn't a massive amount of gold either side. And because both top laners died, it's still a 20 CS lead to Zizzle in that top side, who picks up his Tiamat, which is a good wave clear, gives him potential to be able to go in on top of this this Aatrox, and as I say that though, Kasune trying to go for the Pike ult. Oh, actually, you're gonna get the
hooks him over the bubble.
Yeah, gonna get a lot of damage on the Zoinkers, who has to use the cleanse just to try and stop the debuff healing. Doesn't actually stop the ignite damage. And they will be able to pick that summoner off of him. Still no flash burn, only cleanse for ignite.
Yeah, cleanse for ignite there, and that's okay considering you sent your support there. That's okay from NSG because there was a support sent there, and he still managed to just trade one summoner for one summoner. I do like that Wind and Rain's making moves like this though, because they've gone, look, we know NSG has low damage at this point, and Fax is a very safe pick on the Ezreal. I could just make roams as the Pike and start trying to force things elsewhere.
Yeah, Pike needs to be a little bit safer, excuse me, the Orianna needs to be a little bit safer. And as I say that though, Zizzle has no flash available, will end up taking a lot of damage. There's a level 6 hit there by the Aatrox, and he's going to regen a little bit of health. Will it be enough? He dodges out the Q once, does not get the top twice. Oh,
he gets it!
Happy feet, able to take the 1v1, and that's got to be huge for NSG. Great solo kill for him in top side.
And he also forced the ultimate out from Aatrox, which is so important at the start of most of these fights. Forcing it early is really nice because you get so little regen damage towards the end, but then it is, of course, Wind and Rain responding to the fact that there was no cleanse available. Okay, it's the bot lane though.
Yeah, bot lane, no flash available. Actually, I say that, Fax literally just got it back off cooldown and then immediately uses it again. Ignite does go down. Fax just about survives. They get a lot of pressure into this mid lane, but XJ is there to kind of defend it. Bot lane going a hell of a lot better for Wind and Rain, or sorry, excuse me, for NSG than it is for Wind and Rain right now. 2-2 is the score, but Wind and Rain still have that CS advantage and that gold lead.
I mean, you have Flash. I was kind of hoping they'd play a little further up, but they don't know where Nulty is. They know he got a free pass into the bot side jungle, so they play the safe game here.
Yeah, good call. Have the Demon Flare and the Stand United now from the bot lane of NSG. Still waiting on that death from below for the Pike to really make this bot lane a kill lane for the side of the Ezreal Pike, which I still don't think it turns into, but it's good to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for them to become a kill lane, realistically, but if they do catch someone out under tower, potentially. And now it is XJ. XJ's been allowed farm up. From his point of view, he's still doing fine, even with the Gragas picking up 2 kills. That's fine, because you're playing into tanked Gragas. That is Aftershock as well on the Gragas, and Cinderhulk finished here. So, honestly, I mean, yes, he can build a lot of MR. That's not your biggest concern, though.
Yeah, not your biggest concern. As I say that though, Nulty actually going to get jumped in on top of. They do get the dragon. Voina forced to use the demon flare. They get the dragon, which is what their primary objective was, and they back away. No one goes down. They only get the ultimate out of Voina. A lot of damage onto Zoinkers. Don't walk back towards it. Both flashing away. Flash for flash. That was Crossman's flash.
Yeah.
So, and does not have the ignite, so was not able to capitalize on that one. But Zoe having a much better time in this lane than Orianna is, and definitely pressuring to look to make it a bigger advantage.
Yeah, that was a very quick flash, though. Fair play from Zorgers to cut that one out, but here we go.
Yeah, we're having a replay now of Kerberos. This is a great 1v1. Let's have a look at this.
Okay, so you see Kerberos starts it off thinking he's doing fine. Moves forward, and then gets, you know, the massive amount of damage that you expect from the likes of an Aatrox. But Zizzle actually walks forward into the queue and managed to dodge it out that way. And from here just commits to it, just about lands the EQ, follows it up with the ultimate. And now watch how these autos hit. Just managed to dodge out the Q to the side. W's it for the shield.
That
does
shield.
Walk into the knockup, but it's fine at that point because he's able to turn it around with one more auto.
That shield looked huge, and as I say that though, they're going to see a flash taunt come in, and that's the combination we talked about, and that is a good roam and a good kill. Double kill. What the hell is Kerberos doing?
He eat forward there into them.
There's a reason why he didn't pick Aatrox in the first game. He's not good at it.
But certainly it does seem like Zizzle has his number on this, has happily countered it with the Jarvan, and now looking for first tower blood in the top lane.
And Swain is totally happy being bot side because Swain will not die 1v1 versus an Ezreal.
They don't finish this.
And they don't finish it. They got the turret coming in. They finally get the turret down. The Shen, or the ultimate not being used from Kerberos just yet, has not got available to it. We actually got Blaze just going to be the sacrificial lamb. They trade the turret for the kill. Actually, as I say that though, Crossman is here and Pike comes in. Crossman does die. It's a 1-for-2 trade. XJ trying to just get away from this one. There's 3 people top. XJ the lone man standing. Zoinker's kind of left there kind of going, oops, SS.
No, I think he genuinely can't respond to Zoe at this point. You've seen that time and time again in the lane. And from there, I think that's why you saw Blaze stay forward, see if they could bring the Zoe the other side. Because he died so quickly to everyone else, I don't think we saw that come through. And then it is Wind and Rain who have somewhat of a good play here, and now it's the momentum onto the Rift Herald.
Replay coming up as we look into towards that crazy top lane fight, but this is actually an active play from Wind and Rain.
Yeah, you can see here, Wind and Rain go for the pick. Sizzle dodges it out fairly comfortably here, and then it's the Shen ult right in on top of this. And I really like this. The flash was forced out so early from Akatsune, that's just the taunt flash. Pretty standard at that point. Sizzle just claps him there. You saw E forward there, thinking he had the damage, and Sizzle just takes none and turns it around comfortably.
And then they go for the tower. Does end up taking it. Teleport does end up finishing up. Just about, yeah. They do end up getting a lot of damage returned.
Zoe's on the ward here, though, so
yeah.
Blaze doesn't keep walking. Tries to drag her the other way, see if he can return some damage out to Nulty, knowing he's dead. But instead, it allows Crossman a little bit more space. Just enough to burn down Crossman here, though.
That one little auto attack from the minion would have killed him as well.
Yeah, it's red buff that actually kills him.
Oof. So close. And XJ able to get out of there. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a momentous moment in this game. NSG have a gold lead.
Just
Barely.
about,
just
but
about,
they have one.
But they have a gold lead, and this is a million times better. In fact, he has flash, has arcane shift, will get slowed up, will use it there, gets taunted up, gets ulted down, and Blaze with the ignite and the auto attack. Not even going to get Fax the opportunity to flash away, and NSG are looking comfortable.
Yeah, and they're looking much more in control. They seem to know how to move around the map once they're ahead, so maybe that's their key. Don't fall behind early. I mean, they seem to even slow that down.
Don't give Kaiser 6 kills. Got it.
I mean, it seems so simple. Yeah, and now it's starting to look so simple as it's going to be the play under tower here. Yeah,
they're going to get a good little move there onto Blaze, who actually ends up getting taken down by the death from below. Nice little kind of, move there from the Gragas, able to keep him underneath the tower. There's the ultimate coming in from Ezreal. They're actually going to get that block a lot of it. Zoinker is playing the good guy for his team. Jarvan was rotating towards that mid lane. A lot of farm is going to be lost through that mid lane turret, but Kerberos has been left to free farm up on that top side. He's a full Tiamat behind. Has actually gone with the turret destroying mastery, which is generally split push Aatrox, as you generally see. Doesn't want to go with the huge team fight orientated, but this so far hasn't been the worst from the side of NSG, but it's still an incredibly close game. War starting to pick themselves up. Oh, okay. Actually, Fax needs to be careful.
No damage yet.
Yeah, so no damage, unfortunately.
It looks dangerous, but unfortunately at this stage for Ezreal, doesn't really bother him that much.
Yeah, only has one stack on that Rod of Ages, sadly, for the Swain. We'll be pretty safe just farming this up. And Voina 0-0-0 is kind of where he wants to be on this Swain, because once he hits that mid game, gets a second item, his Demon Flares are actually going to be so impactful for these team fights if NSG can orchestrate them correctly.
Yeah, I mean, all he needs to do right now is just constantly drag people back. Use that Ravenous Flock as soon as anyone gets CC'd, make sure they're dragging the right people into the fight, and then just allow the rest of your team, which is really high damage comp at this point, just take them out.
We'll have to wait and see. Coming up to 15 minutes in this game, it is a pretty much even gold lead. 6 kills to 5 in favor of NSG. They've got themselves an Ocean Drake. As I say that though, Kerberos, he might be in a little bit of trouble as Sizzle needs to learn how that mechanic works. Just go to the side. You don't need to go to the long, massive, huge bit in the front. Just go to the side. It's not hard to dodge.
I mean, he only has tier 1 boots, so it's actually kind of difficult to dodge at that point. Either way, we are seeing now the dragon is spawning. NSG have some control over this bot side, but it's the mid that should be worrying for them. Yeah, Zoinker's felt the wind pass through his butt cheeks as Nulty actually going to get a double and into another little bit of a move there. Actually, Voina, great little move there to try and get his Zhonya's off immediately. Now they got a lot of damage on the Crossman. There's a good separation there for Crossman. He's not able to join his team, but it's Akatsune who's able to get away! Flashing away after the ultimate. Swag points for him. Zizzle, though, he wants blood. He's got the Tiamat. He's got the Black Cleaver. Gets a lot of damage down onto Nulty and Fax. They have got the Shockwave available. There is no escape for you, fat man, as you go straight back to grey screen. They may look for the dragon or they may look for mid lane. And that's a big shutdown as well. Gragas was picking up most of those kills aside from Pyke. He's the next most, and now this does give... When was Rift Herald taken? The Herald. When was Rift Herald taken? I don't even remember that being taken. I mean, they had control over topside. It makes sense. Yeah, it does. But that's going to be top lane traded. Rifty goes into the mid lane. That's going to open up the map a little bit more for the side of NSG. They're going to turn onto the Drake. It's not a hugely impactful one, but overall, positives upon positives upon positives. Wind and Rain, they need to start shoring up these little bit of mistakes because they're not respecting the damage that's coming out right now. Yeah. And I think right now that covers them the 2 outer towers that they were looking for, and now they're trying to pressure that third one in the bot lane. It is only Fax defending, but you can see Akatsune has had an extremely good game on this Pyke. Can he continue form? Because his team seems to be struggling with what NSG are bringing out.
His ultimate bounties are actually keeping War in line with the gold. Like, literally
Slightly
in line with the gold.
right
Yeah,
now.
like, slightly ahead. That's the kind of amount of work that he is putting into this game right now. And honestly, hats off to him. He is doing as much as he possibly can, given how not great it has been so far for his team. They are 2 turrets to 1 down, 8 to 7 kills down, 2 dragons down.
And
maybe mid lane turret going down?
This should be mid lane turret going down. Okay, it's actually going to be Zizzle going for it though.
Yeah, Crossman has no flash. He can't get out of this, and they're going to be able to lock him down and blow him up. Here's the Shen ultimate into the Shen taunt, and Nolty is now the target. Wind and Rain overextend. They go for the mid lane turret, and it ends in disaster.
They don't even get the turret at the end. I was so sure they had it, and clearly they were too, as they end up losing 2 for that play. And now there should be the pressure onto the mid-inner. NSG, they show once they can come out even, they can very much continue pressure.
NSG could possibly get an inhibitor turret off this. Maybe not the inhibitor. They have got a lot of damage with that Black Cleaver Tiamat on top of their Jarvan. They will just take the tier 2 and back away. XJ gone to deal with Kerberos on the top side, but I just... Where was this NSG first game? Wind and Rain, this is a very close competition.
And what I really like is that Talia has now been able to, with that little bit extra speed, XJ has found himself in a lot of these key plays.
Yeah,
let's look at this to start.
This was great.
I like that. That was a really nice pickup with the double hit. And it looked like it was going to go off for them, but a really nice stopwatch from Voina puts most of that damage out. Very close X, but managed to land it. But Crossman has found himself picked off on the other side. Akatsune managed to get in as well with the double. The Pyke has been really impressive to me, and that just cements it too. That was so close. If that knock, if it just clipped him, that would have been a lot of shutdown gold going over.
I like the fact though that the side of NSG didn't aggress further to try and catch him, because you know you can tunnel vision a bit. They immediately said no, he's gone straight onto the Gragas and the Ezreal just after that off screen. Gragas goes down. They pick themselves up the mid lane turret as well as the Cloud Drake on that rotation. And we're coming up to 20 minutes now. It is probably at a 1,000 gold lead in favor of NSG. It's not that big of a deal. Kerberos now having to deal with Voina, as Voina just walks away, and this is just not good for Kerberos. He's forced to pop his ultimate immediately. Does end up being taken down within it, and will just back away. That is a weird walking animation when he's in that kind of status.
Yeah. Kind of just crawls around.
He's just like, it's like when you're flying or you're like falling through air and you just see those like, you know, whoa! But with Kerberos' ultimate now down, with the pressure that the side of NSG were able to create with that, they get the bot lane turret. That is the last outer available. Zoe jumps in, thought it was going to be a quick little boop, but not quite. Your W has gotten nerfed in recent patches. They get control of the bot side, and honestly right now the side of NSG can keep pushing.
Yeah, it's now Baron that is going to be put on the cards, but not for another minute.
God.
They have some time.
Oh my God,
I thought long.
I thought if it was one more auto attack and I feel like he's dead. But that while that's all happening, they push in the mid lane, they get that turret, but bot lane being pushed now in favor of NSG. The side of Wind and Rain, what do they do? What do they need to do to come back into this? Because right now it's kind of falling away from them.
They need to find and engage, but it's actually NSG who are cutting off all their opportunities to do so. I like the wall, just in case you were going to get the Ezreal in from the side. Anyone else was joining him was cut off, on top of the fact Zizzle is trying to look for someone in that jungle. Might be able to find Akatsune here. Not quite able to see him though. Managed to sneak his way out of there.
20 minutes in, Wind and Rain. This is not the situation they expected to be in. As I say that though, we're going to see a little bit of a move here onto Nolty. Gets ignited down, has no flash, has no way out, and Zizzle picks himself up a kill. Baron is up, but it's going to be extra. Ooh. I was going to say the X coming down on top of the Jarvan, but he's able to get himself away. Shockwave's still available. They need to be very careful on the side of Wind and Rain. They have not got a huge amount of tankiness to them. Blades could go in. They're going to get the taunt there onto Kerberos. They're going to go on top of him. He has got his ultimate back already. As we see Akatsune trying to jump in onto XJ, he will get the shutdown. He is the shining light for the side of Wind and Rain as he goes back in. Not quite able to get it, but Zizzle is back in the fight and says, hello everybody, I am here. Forcing the flash out of Fax, right back into this. And now Akatsune, he's going to keep playing runaway. He is not going to get caught anytime soon, but ends up being a 1-for-1 trade in favor of nobody, as it is an equal trade.
But it was actually a massive shutdown on the Talia, so a lot of gold went over to Akatsune again. I mean,
he is literally 5-1. Like, he's having a fantastic game.
I mean, it's great that he's sharing the gold and all, but there's a lot of shutdowns that his team just aren't getting. They're getting 300 gold, definitely helpful, definitely keeping them afloat. But if all of that's getting funneled into Pyke, he can't do much more with it than he's doing right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, as well, as I'm noticing, is that NSG are picking their, the people who they want to go on top of very, very well. They're picking who doesn't have flash. Who do we catch out with if we can just get one bit of CC? They try to use their, escape away, never move, bring it back in. Swain kind of brings them back. It's an interesting little combo, but I'm curious to see how they keep pushing it.
I was going to say, Iceborne Gauntlet here on the Ezreal.
What?
I mean, Zizzle is destroying people right now. We were saying that their team's very MR focused. So you have a mostly like an AD bruiser Jarvan that they suddenly have been forced a lot of armor onto the other team, so they now can't go for some kind of MR stack, and this is going to be a struggle for them now as they're forced to deal with an NSG who look pretty comfortable when ahead and are starting to now gain vision control over this Baron side.
Yeah, there is a pink ward just sitting on that tri-bush just behind top lane. Ocean Drake going to launch, going to spawn up as we see now. Zizzle and Blaze going to sneak themselves up towards this top
They're
side.
actually outnumbered here.
They are outnumbered. They have got the Shen ultimate available to them. Blaze does get caught out a little bit. They're going to try and go for this one now on top of Fax. Does just flash away. Zizzle now going to try and keep away. As he actually gets knocked back away from the actual the Demacia standard. Actually going to be forced to flash away. Talia does take the jungle all to herself. 2 kills in favor of Wind and Rain. Zoinkers forced to use the cleanse a little bit late, if I'm being honest. He's forced to flash as well. Kerberos tries to go in on top of that one. Yes, the Dragon went in favor of NSG, but Wind and Rain coming back alive, taking control of the Baron side, taking control of top lane.
They still have that pick potential, and it was actually NSG trying to make the play there. Instead, they get picked off for it. And again, speaking of pick potential, Death Brushes or Death Baron Pit in this case. Exactly what you want.
Yeah, but I was going to say, Swain can look at it really, really intently, and he knows that they're going to be sitting there. And yes, they have no Baron. Thank you very much, Observers, for showing that to the rest of the groups. But it does mean that they can't take it because they've delayed it a little bit more. Now Zizzle's back up. Now Blaze is back up. They can't risk going for that 5v5 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be dangerous if they actually started it up, which is why they did go for that Death Brush in the first place. If they picked up any more, it was going to be quite easy for them. However, now again, it has slowed down Wind and Rain and NSG. Neck on neck, 23.5 minutes in. This is a close one.
This is such a close game right now. Let's take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen. And let's just reevaluate where we are. What are the win conditions now? Looking at the state of the map, looking at the two teams, how they've both played. What is NSG looking to do? What is Wind and Rain looking to do?
You're still looking to force these 5v5s as NSG. You want to be able to chase people down. Zizzle doing a great job of that, and it allows people to continue to force things. Great way to force a 5v5 is around this Baron.
I was going to say, they have started up the Baron now. They are going to try and maybe push for this one here. Blaze is off onto the side with Zoinkers. Crossman does use his ultimate just to get a little bit of vision. Now Zizzle jumps in. Zizzle might have the position here to try and jump onto the rest of them. Decides not to. They have got priority over this lane. They have got priority over top side. They're just going to wait it out. They know they have the threat for the wombo combo like we talked about.
Yeah, and now from this point of view, normally what you want to do is send Kerberos off to split push, but he hasn't been having the best time of that up against this Jarvan.
And he has no teleport. That's a big thing. If he's down bot lane, it's going to take him a long time to deal with the top side.
Neither does Zizzle, and from their point of view, that's way more important. They want to keep Zizzle away from them as much as possible, as he's putting down so much pressure for these guys, especially when it's followed up by the likes of Talia, and even Voina and Blaze are putting out some damage now. Even just the amount of CC is impressive.
There is a little ward, as you saw it there, just on the side, left side of Baron Pit.
Yeah.
It is doing very, very nicely for the side of Wind and Rain. They know that this Baron has not been started just yet. If you can pan
But they also know that no one's on the Baron, so they're now wondering what's happening. They know that a death was probably been set up somewhere.
Oh yeah, Zoinkers. Actually, here's the Talia Weaver's wall. Actually going to stop there. They're going to stop the Pyke immediately. He's forced to flash, as is Crossman. 2 big summoners burned. That's a bit scary now for Wind and Rain. That's 2 big summoners that they have to be very, very careful of in the next fight.
Yep. That was good. That was a nice wall. It actually cancelled out the Pikey, which is very unfortunate for them, but great if you're an NSG fan here.
This game is on a knife's edge. We're into the territory of one mistake can literally end it for either side. The stun does land onto Zizzle. He's got a little bit of a ticking time bomb because he will stop doing that crazy amount of damage once the items start picking up for the tanks.
But with NSG's comp, this is very favorable for them. They want to make sure that they slow down any potential pick comp, as I believe was like Scoundrel mentioned on the desk. When you're a pick comp, you want to get ahead early and then constantly be pressuring with that. Instead, what's happened is they've been forced back, and it's NSG constantly picking them off and then forcing 5v5s, which they win. And it looks like this could happen once more.
Yep, all the blue trinkets now being expended on the side of Wind and Rain. They're going to take Scuttle for NSG. Taken very, very quickly. Talia able to take that one very quickly with the seismic shove. And Wind and Rain, though, with the amount of vision control they actually have, as I say that, though, no flash onto the Pike. That was a very dangerous situation right there. They pick off the Pike. That could be huge for the side of NSG. Luckily for Wind and Rain and their fans, he does get out. He does keep himself relevant. He is still very much a threat.
Yeah, Akatsune, like an absolute blinder of a game here, but how much longer can that go on for? It's a potential pick here.
Oh, they get something. They get the taunt and the knockback. Seismic Should doing a little bit. Blaze going to play keep away as they get the nice little knockback with the explosive cast. XJ forced to go golden, but only for so long. Jungler down, and now NSG in a little bit of trouble. I say that though, 3-man Cataclysm on 2 people who don't have a flash, and this could be huge for the side of NSG. It's the shutdowns. Down goes the Pike, down goes the Zoe, and now NSG can continue forward.
And they can keep fighting. It is Zizzle just consistently leading the charge for these guys. They pick up 2. They need to wait for the Talia to respond, though, before they can really start to pressure anymore. It's very important for them, though, to be consistently picking up picks like that. And a good return, considering they just lost their jungler.
This is so tense. Jungle down, so Baron not a threat. You see the side of Wind and Rain now going to prioritize those side lanes. NSG going to do likewise. They back away, they reset, they try and get everything back into their order again, but you have to be so afraid of Zizzle when you group up like that. You are just asking for him, and the fact that that play is possible because they burned the 2 flashes previously.
Absolutely. And I'm still watching Zizzle every time these team fights kick off. He's consistently either landing flanks or starting the engages himself. Pretty instrumental to how they're doing right now. And it's allowing a lot of NSG's damage to land as well, because you then have just Zoinkers and XJ have such an easy time of following it up and things like that. On top of Blaze, once he lands some CC, you just send Swain into the center of them, just doing general damage. And there's the wall.
Crossman,
okay, it's the pick,
Crossman, Zizzle with the TP on the backside. He's going to get knocked back in, but then he goes in, and that is going to be a simple pick. Again, no flash on the Talia, the Zoe means that Talia with Zizzle. Great little play there from the side of NSG, and that could potentially open up the Baron. There's not a huge amount of poke now coming in from the Zoe.
That is pretty massive for them. Now what they're looking to do is, I think they're too scared to start the Baron, but they definitely want to make a pick around it. They have the control, the vision control here, though.
Yes, they still have Cataclysm, they still have the Orianna Shockwave, they still have the Demon Flare. Nearly. It is still on cooldown from the last team fight, but now NSG, make a decision. You need to start pushing forward. Ooh.
They just want to get rid of Pike. He is the massive issue on the team.
Zizzle needs to be careful, though. He's kind of a little bit found out by himself. They might actually just jump straight away on top of everybody else. Actually, the Pike knocks the Jarvan straight out of the Pike stun. Now we see Voyna jumping in. Kerberos,
they can't kill Pike.
They can't kill him. They can't kill Aatrox either. Voyna forced to back away. Good Zhonya's, though. And now they might be able to turn around this fight. Shockwave still not available. Actually, it is. It's been used. Shut down on the Kerberos. Now Crossman has joined the fight. He has got damage, but he's got no position. Ends up being both top laners sacrificed. Oh, this game is so close.
It's NSG getting over greedy for that Pike pick, though. And Akatsune just straight up outplaying them with the invis here.
Oh, Voyna.
Oh, okay.
He's no flash. Nowhere to go. Actually, as I say that, though, they do end up taking him off, but Zoinkers is around now. Zoinkers might be in a lot of trouble.
This is just not what NSG wanted.
No.
They're being picked off one by one now because their team fight had ended. They needed to back off and just didn't get everyone out of there in time. And now they're being punished for it by Wind and Rain. Zoiker's looking to buy time, so it's at least not a 3v5 for the rest of his team. See if he can clear some of these waves. Blaze now trying to catch up with them. They're sending more people into the no man's land effectively.
Yeah, Shockwave will be available soon, but Zoinker is doing so
well.
No! Tried his very, very best. Doesn't waste cleanse on that. Blaze, you need to leave.
Yes. That's what we learned.
You
Just
need to
leave after things like that happen.
That delay does mean that Swain's back up, does mean that the Jarvan's back up, does mean that everything can be reset again for NSG. It is still such a close game for both these sides. Wind and Rain starting to come back into it. This Pike, Akatsune has been a monster in this game, and he is just causing so many issues for for NSG, that you have to respect him. You have to respect that if he's on the game, if he's on the Rift, you just cannot go forward.
It's not even that. It's that they can go forward. They could try kill him, but they just don't have the damage yet, or certainly can't seem to find him as he just consistently moves around them.
Triple Ocean Drake.
That is the
yeah.
worst thing they could have asked for, but at least they do have 4 Drakes. That is something they will have going in, especially up with the next one being Elder. Could be a potential way for them to really force these fights.
And Elder does a hell of a lot less damage than Baron does and takes a lot less time to kill. So, a little bit of a better win condition for NSG. They haven't found success around the Baron. We look at the time now, we're at 31 minutes. Aatrox is incredibly relevant. Aatrox has now farmed himself up to 2.5 items. He's going to get that Spirit Visage, so he's not getting completely blown up by the rest of the magic damage coming out from Swain, Orianna, Talia. He will become a very real threat. He wasn't until pretty much that last team fight, and even then he was still doing crazy amounts of damage.
Yeah, and you see, normally this is where you go, okay, they have a massive team fighting comp, they should be able to take fights from around here, but just haven't been able to find them, and now this is the Baron started up.
Baron has been started, Pink Ward has been dropped down, or I should say Control
They don't want to turn
Ward.
this into a 50-50 though.
Yeah, they're going to see now. Not quite sure how that interaction works, as Jarvan did not get slept.
I think it was just a visual bug there. I think he just
Possibly.
EQ'd out of it.
Possibly, but now the Baron has been stopped again. Aatrox has not got TP, but is still pressuring this bot side. Honestly, I think right now, NSG, yes, it might be a 50-50, but you have to force something because you're just going to lose more towers.
Yeah. And that's something, again, that side ward, they have not realized that that side ward exists at any point, and now it is Zizzle trying to respond to Kerberos. I'm not sure if he can at this point.
Yeah, with the red buff as well on top of this Aatrox, it's actually a bit of a much more even fight, despite the fact that Zizzle has got that much more offensive item, as we see the mid lane being jostled over. Pyke is up towards that top side, just playing nuisance, playing everyone away, knowing that he can go for that flank. They need to be so careful as he Blaze, huge chunk of damage on him. He needs to back away. He needs to go back and regen. Actually has the triple ocean, but again, not as much as you need right now because you just get burned up so quickly.
And just look, on top of the red buff and just the flat healing you get as Aatrox, so hard to shut him down in the split push at this point.
He's going to go back, finish off a Spirit Visage, you would imagine. Maybe an Adaptive Helm. Well, Spirit Visage going to be picked up there. And this is where the game, all of a sudden, that good lead, the good pressure, the good pace that NSG were setting, it's pretty much for naught. Wind and Rain are back in it. It could go either way. If either side gets a good engage or a good, kind of situation for themselves, it can work out for them.
Yeah, this when you have a lead like this, you really want to try to speed it up, and that's what, in fairness, NSG have been trying to do with these Barons. They just have not noticed this. This is cheeky wards on the side of the Baron pit. They have not realized can be done, I guess, or haven't thought that would have been done, and now it is them being called out. They've got it so low, though. They could just try to commit to this. They're just not comfortable enough to. They're too worried about Pyke's picking them off.
That was close. That was close, as we see now. Kerberos just going to jump in on top of Izzle, and now you see he has got the 1v1 potential to take out this Jarvan, and Jarvan needs to just one-shot anybody on the side of Wind and Rain that isn't Aatrox, and this Baron dance is becoming a little bit of a problem, but here comes the taunt, and they may just have enough. The Talia Weaver's Wall is cutting off any kind of escape, and now Voina comes in with the teleport. They're trying to keep going on top of this. They're going to jump in, force the flash out of Nulti. That is a big cooldown. Again, Crossman gets caught, and Crossman is the detriment to this team.
Yeah, and he threw out the portal jump there, but Zizzle was already in range of where it was going to land. Quickly took out the EQ, guaranteed that. Now it looks like they're moving up towards the top side. They're looking for that tower. In the meantime, it's going to be Swain trying to hold the mid lane with Zoinkers.
Yeah, no need to go for a Baron 50-50, even with Nulti here, as Zoinkers and Voina now going to force the engage. Good little shockwave to keep everybody away, but the Pyke is there. Blaze can only do so much, and he will be sacrificed again. It was a split call. They lose one. Both mid laners are down. Will they be able to get out of this? Potentially be able to go for this. Kerberos, though, in a lot of trouble if he can't get away. He has no ultimate available, so he needs to be so careful. Now Voina pops the Demon Flare. The rest of the team are trying to go in on top of this. Kerberos has been ignited. Actually, he's not ignited. He's just got grievous wounds on top of him, and Zizzle is huge. They do force the flash out of Kerberos, and now Akasune is still doing so much for this team. But Nulti with no flash means he is the next one to go down, and Zizzle is not done. He wants to find this Aatrox, who also had to flash. XJ just dodging out as much as he possibly can. That's a great Zhonya's, and he does get the seismic shove out. He will eventually go down, though. It ends up being a 2-for-2. Both mid laners, both.
Oh, they get it!
Oh, he's only just back up and he's gone. The cast time for his ult is the reason he falls. Zizzle wants more, but he cannot find it. Kerberos has come back. Fax so low, has still got flash available. This game is so topsy-turvy. It's impossible to call.
It's Elder Drake in 1 minute as well,
Ooh.
so even if the Baron isn't something they want to go for, they now have the Elder as an option. Wind and Rain really want to shut that down. A 4 Drake Elder is not something you want to have to deal with.
You cannot trade, in my opinion, if you're a Wind and Rain fan, you cannot trade Baron for Elder Drake right now. A 4-stack Elder Drake is so huge, especially with the teamfight comp that you have coming out from NSG.
Yeah, I feel like Zizzle just ults the center of your fight and you're done. But I feel like that's generally been what's happening anyway, so maybe not a huge amount changes. We'll see now, though.
Yeah, he finds Zoinkers. TP gonna come in from
the Baron
Zizzles.
call, though.
Baron call gonna come in, though, from the side of Wind and Rain. They actually just...
Good call to cancel that, because that would have been a pretty much guaranteed Baron at that point.
Yeah, would have been a guaranteed Baron. The TP was cancelled from Zizzle. Fax has disconnected. We're gonna have a quick replay. This game is so close. Let's have a look. This is the extended fight where Crossman gets caught out again.
Look, just watch exactly what they're going for. They decide, look, they've tried to cut people off from this side, and now Crossman decides to run for it. Zizzle's right in front of him. He knows Zizzle's there. So disrespectful.
Look at it. It cuts off the Pike. The Pike can't join.
But even if that wasn't the case, and he actually gets hooked off the wall, which is extremely impressive, the big thing for me there is that Crossman is just so disrespectful of the fact that people were in front of him. Or maybe that was a team call that got messed up, because Nolte could have tried to block that or tried to get in the way.
Very much a split call as we see now. NSG, they pick it up, and this is where we kind of see the splitness coming in. Voina actually starts going up with them to take that top tier 2, then starts backing away. They know that Zoinkers is there because he was spotted out on a ward. I think they have a little bit of an advantage here with the Orianna and Swain. They just don't respect the amount of damage that's coming out of Kerberos right now. Yeah,
and then it's just they get chased down. It's just, as you said, the split call just doesn't work out for them. This is unfortunate for Blaze, because this fight's already lost at that point. He even tries to lock at it.
He gets out.
Yeah, Pike Ultimate goes through shields as well. So once he gets to a certain threshold, there's just no saving him, unfortunately for them. Then the rest of the fight continues on quite well for NSG, but you can see we're just sitting in this replay for ages as it just went on and on. And then eventually, it was NSG who start to get things back for them. Blaze just not quite able to take out the Aatrox as a Shen support.
Really?
Yeah, somehow.
Without Ignite, he wasn't able to kill the, level 18 Aatrox. Madness.
But here's where things happen. Voina's just not fast enough to get in the way of that Q. That could have changed how that fight works out, but
Crossman. This is look at it. It's actually the animation. I feel like if he walks backwards, he's fine.
Sauron knows no mercy.
He actually stops himself. He walks a little bit forward and he won't. I actually feel like he doesn't die, but we will never know. I love that Zoe's just like, oh no.
Yeah. And let's hop back into game here though and see what to look, because we still have people dancing Elder Drake and Baron.
Yeah, this is so close right now. Elder Drake now being on the pit. We are back into game, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully very soon. We should be back in very, very soon, but being told by production 10 seconds, and I can feel the tension in my stomach. I'm building abs. Like right now, I'm building abs.
Constructing them from scratch. Impressive, really. But that is the kind of game we are dealing with.
I'll show my progress next time. Tomorrow. But we are back into game, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Elder Drake spawning in 20 seconds. Baron has not bared any fruit for NSG, nor has it bared any fruit for Wind and Rain. So we'll have to see if either side...
There's been no fruit board.
No
from
fruit
any Barons.
has been fruited. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but you can see now pink wards. Pretty much everyone is picking up pink wards right now. Vision is key coming up to whenever the next fight comes in. But they're just going to rush this dragon like we talked about. It's going to be so quick for them to take it, and Wind and Rain aren't in a position to respond right now. They're going to try and trade it, but they're not in a position. There's no damage.
Yeah, let's see if you can get Zoinkers into the center of that. It can really dissuade them really quickly here. They're actually going to get more people across as well. Swain's going to leave. XJ starts and even goes, oh, I think I left Jarvan in there. Whoops.
Jarvan, you have smite, right? Wall. Actually, as I say that, though, we're going to see the taunt. They're going to delay it now. Here comes the Elder Drake as Voina comes in. There's a good shockwave only onto Kerberos, though. They're going to have a great disengage, though, as Kerberos is in a lot of trouble. He goes down. And this could be it. There's two of them down now. The dragon goes down.
They're pushing up mid.
They can push up mid. They can push up bot. They can choose whatever they want right now. This could be the game for NSG.
It's 38 minutes. We've got long death timers, and they have a very strong Elder Dragon buff right now. Let's see what they can do with it.
Akatsune, if it was a time to drag your team onto your back and back into this game, it is now, but I just don't think he's got it in him right now. Inhibitors are being fletched. Zoe is just keeping that bot lane away, but honestly, I don't even think they need that bot lane right now. They can dive this. They still have Cataclysm. They still have the Shen ultimate. They have GA on Jarvan. They have so many tools at their disposal. They could just go for it. As I said, though, Zoe gets shoved on by the Cataclysm. She's forced to flash immediately. She has had so little use of that in this entire game. Crossman just taking damage right now from the 4-Dragon burn. Pyke doing as much as he physically can.
There it is.
Crossman goes down, and that could be the game. We are looking at massive death timers right now. Now they're on the Nexus turret. They're onto the inhibitors, onto the Nexus.
They've respawned though. It's now 4v5. I'm not sure it's enough for them to turn it around though. Elder's still going.
Elder is still very much in the cards right now as we see Zizzle jumping back in. They jump in onto Akasune and on top of Kerberos. Naughty is still there. They don't get the execute though, and they just have too much damage, too much to deal with, too many dragons. The Weaver's Wall to separate everybody. The final Nexus turret goes down. It's a valiant effort coming in from Wind and Rain. They don't want this to go down. Fax, you need to back away. It's actually XG falls off. He's not going to die just yet. Zoinkers, they just see that. They do it.
They end it.
Oh my god.
It is 1-1. NSG managed to take a game from Wind and Rain.
Yeah, boy. What up?
Results-based analysis. You can't compete with it.
It's a 2-1 prediction.
It's a 2-1.
He's coming in.
He's coming in hot. Best poros ever.
Very, very well played from Nuclear Storm Gaming. It was a trash composition from Wind and Rain. It was just trash. Really was. I mean, but realistically, we said it from the offset. It looked like Nuclear Storm Gaming had the better composition. They had so many different win conditions to work with. Damn, they executed well. I mean, Zizzle has maybe been MVP of the series so far. That guy has been a monster. And Kerberos, again, looked pretty much as useless as he did in the first series. Still only split push orientated. Didn't bring anything to the team.
Like, literally picking one of the best picks you can get, especially as a counter pick, and then falling behind.
I think it was a bit harsh to say it was trash. It was
Nuclear... It was hot garbage.
No, look, I mean,
Nuclear Storm Gaming made it look trash.
Yes, the pick was still there, and that's why the game was so stalled out. In fairness to them, they started trying to play to that, but 5-man fights are so much easier.
Yeah, well, the thing is that you needed to, like we said, you needed to win the early game. You needed to snowball. Your top lane was doing so catastrophically bad, and you can see there from the damage output that Jarvan was even the top of the damage. He was just such a monster that game. I mean, try as he might, Fax just didn't have the ability to burst through anybody that game. He really couldn't get to the backline easily enough because Jarvan was constantly pressuring. Get Crossman off Zoe. He was something else.
Forward in front of people.
His damage was good, as you can see there, but he just got.
I want to see his damage taken grab. Yeah, because he walked forward a lot. I think the big thing for me was that they had an easier comp to execute with based on their win conditions, and they were tankier in the laning phase. You then had Zizzle do exactly what he did previously in a harder matchup, which is like absolute credit to him there. But more importantly, you then had a bot lane going relatively even. Nothing really happened there, and that's all they needed.
I would love to go back and just, before we quickly... I'd love to go back and look over the results of UK League of Legends and had a look at if people give themselves the widest set of win conditions possible versus a very narrow set of win conditions, which team comes out on top? Because I guarantee you, at this level of play, if you give yourself the wider set of win conditions, you're more likely to win. It is just more win conditions. The problem with Wind and Rain's composition is like single target damage, only single target damage realistically. You have a split push with Kerberos, which got destroyed in the laning phase, and then you didn't snowball the early to mid game, which meant that when you came towards 20 to 30 minutes, you weren't making picks because you didn't have the damage. And then you get to the late game, you just got complete. There was no way you team fought against what NSG brought to the table.
Yeah, the other thing is that we've said XJ was a relatively weak link. He got given to Leah, one of the best junglers right now, and absolutely showed up. And I think it was 4-0-1 at the start, and then continued from there. Really good Weaver's Wall, which I think is by far the hardest part of the kit to execute on. You saw a lot of them really key, even towards the end there, getting across the Baron. Really nice.
And a big thing as well that we kind of, comparatively from the two games, Fax pops off in the first one, Fax does literally nothing in the second. Now, he doesn't die, But Ezreal is that kind of pick that if you're not ahead and you're not creating massive amounts of poke damage, you're just not able to do anything with it. And it just felt like it was a nobody pick.
Look, the damage shows itself. He was obviously had huge input in this game, but it's not a hyper carry. Like,
nope.
I think the big thing for me, he was being pressured off so hard by Zizzle. Like every fight, it was like EQ forward, force the E, ult, force the flash. I'm gonna keep chasing you anyway.
And that's what I was talking about in the kind of pick and bans. Like if you jump out with Ezreal with your flash and your E, you can't go back into the fight.
The thing about Ezreal is that he often distorts damage graphs.
Yes.
Every poke champion distorts damage graphs because if you just hit so think about how many random mystic shots that hit over the course of the game which had little to no impact on anything, that stacks damage up. The damage that counts is in the team fights where you have to burst someone, you have to kill someone. That's why people like Kai'Sa are always going to excel in those situations, because while she might not have the poke that Ezreal has, and therefore the damage output might be lower, the damage that she's actually done has been more relevant. Like random Zoe Qs and random Ezreal Qs, whilst a good harass, unless you turn it into something, just aren't relevant. Right, guys, we have a survey. Remember, if you would like to give feedback on the Forge of Champions, you can go to @LVPUK on Twitter, and you can find the survey there. We are going to jump to, I think that's the break music, so we're going to jump to a short break, and when we're back, we'll have the final game. Oh, not yet. Well, he played the break music.
This is the
break music. I was so ready.
Maybe surveys have like a new like. Woo,
oh, we're giving you cool music for the survey.
Yeah.
Go to LVP UK. Make sure you pick up the survey and give all the feedback. Make sure you say that you like all of the casters.
Tell us we're pretty.
Yeah, tell us we're pretty. And also, it's in the Twitch chat as well, so if you want to click it on Twitch chat and give some feedback there, absolutely fantastic. We will see you in just a short moment. When we're back, we'll have the final game of the night, the guaranteed final game of the night. Can NSG potentially put themselves in the top 8 of the Forge of Champions? See you soon.